So I'm not going to ramble anymore, and I'm going to pass over to Phil, who is going to get us all motivated.
As opposed to just rambling. Thank you very much, Simon. Good afternoon, all. Yeah, I'd like to spend a little bit of time this afternoon talking about something quite close to everyone's heart who's got a team that needs motivating. So motivation with a side dish of engagement and morale. How do we keep it up in these very difficult and challenging times for employers and employees alike? So over the last 18 months, the sceptred isle, as Shakespeare would have had it, this other Eden has become a bit of a pit of misery for many. Brexit segued into COVID-19 with its casualties, lockdowns 1 and 2, working from home, movements like the transgender lobbies, Black Lives Matter, #MeToo, #TimesUp. They've all powered heightened social media activism and isolation. And these are inevitably feeding mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and a wide range of disorders. For the employers, thank you for that slide, Simon, for the employers who still have a business, there have also been obviously financial uncertainties and the moral and legal struggles of how to keep your employees on the payroll at all, how to do the right thing by them, to protect this valuable asset for when we come out of this nightmare. And it is a when we, not if we, but also to get some value for money from the employees who are working still, and to protect the asset that you have furloughed, but of course is still costing the business money. So the single best value for money tactic to keep your team motivated is, I'm going to outline some of those for you. In fact, there's a top 10. But first, let's explore quickly, what is motivation and how do you keep your teams motivated in the gloomy dregs of this annus horribilis that is 2020. So what's motivation? Okay, so it's a high level energy focused on productive action. You can read this for yourself, but I understand that seeing something and listening helps it to sink in better, so I'm going to read it as well. So an employee might be engaged in something, but not absorbed in it because he or she is feeling a sense of having to. So motivation is the why, or the reason that we act, and it's that I feel is absolutely key to keeping your teams on board. Engagement, however, is typically the what. Okay, so if motivation is the why, engagement is the what. What do they do to power your business forward? But engagement obviously has an emotional element to it. An employee morale can determine the level of engagement, which then directly translates to the level of output per unit time within the workforce. And that's what we need. Not yet, Simon. Calm yourself, calm yourself. Thank you. So I've chosen to explore motivation as the key building block so that you can apply these principles, all based on research as well as my own experience and the businesses that I work within, and of course a dash of common sense. I don't expect that from your HR doctor. So there's a caveat, of course. You all know your people better than anyone, better than all the books, better than all the researchers. So use these tips as a starting point to apply in your business. Obviously, this is a massive topic, and of course, one size does not fit all. In your business, you may well have baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, sometimes called Generation Y, Generation Z worker populations, and they're all going to be driven by slightly different needs and wants. And of course, each of those classifications is not a homogeneous mass. So, Simon, slide please. Thank you. Excellent. So the motivational drivers there, you can see in this diagram. I'm sure you're very pleased that you're looking at pictures rather than me this session. So motivational drivers, well, you can see starting at 1 o'clock there, the top 6 of these drivers make up 85% of the total of motivational drivers. And you may be surprised at what these drivers are. So peer motivation is a massive 20% there. That's about being in a progressive, a dynamic, a cohesive team. So team building is a massive requirement to keep motivation and therefore engagement up. And doing good. Yeah, who knew? Actually, doing good by the client and doing good for your business is remarkably important to people in terms of motivation. Being encouraged, that's probably no surprise to you, but again, that's a big wedge of those motivational drivers, being encouraged at work. Then we've got making a difference. People need to know that they make a difference to the business, that their job is worth doing and that it's recognized. The ability to growth at work, they're at roughly about Q2 in the 12th place. The ability to grow at work, you know, we don't have jobs anymore, we have roles. And most of the small businesses I work with don't have any particular hierarchical progression that they can go through. But if you've got an individual who can grow in their role and help to give more to the business, that's a massive motivation to them. And satisfying customers. I know, all very Boy Scout, isn't it? But actually, every one of your employees wants to satisfy the customers of the business. And right there in the dregs almost is money and benefits and a good manager. Don't stop trying to be a good manager. But right in the dregs, you've got money and benefits, a good manager, and belief in the company. They're important, but they're not as important as those top 6. So those are the motivational drivers for people. So how do you harness those? How do you make your business a pleasant place to be? Simon, slide please. Oh, you're a master of technology. Thank you. So, top 10 ways. Anybody else old enough to remember pop pickers? You don't need to answer that. So, number 1, make your business a pleasant place to be. No one wants to stand around in a dingy, boring space for hours on end. Having aesthetically pleasing, well-lit, functional and fun space makes your work a lot more pleasant. And the first step is to make sure things are well kept and that you have updated and working equipment and software. That means getting rid of your Cold War era computer in the back office, and it means getting rid of your slow, boring CRM software and getting some nice, shiny, easy to interface CRM software. Try featuring local artists in the workplace, perhaps incorporating your team's passion into the decoration around the workplace. We're getting all a little bit esoteric there, but guess what? As long as you keep it clean, it's great to encourage people's ownership by having part of what they love. Poster of a Harley Davidson motorcycle, if you wish, on the wall. All of these touches make things a lot more enjoyable for your employees and therefore by proxy for your customers. Be respectful, number 2. Be respectful, honest and a supportive manager. Again, seems like a no-brainer, but bad management is one of the top reasons that people leave. Oddly, conversely, being a good manager doesn't necessarily make people stay. However, that should be a given anyway, being a good manager. Being a bad manager, you will lose your key people. Supporting an employee through furlough just to have them leave for a competitor who hasn't done diddly squat to support them is really the unkindest cut of all. So you really do need to be supportive in these very, very difficult times. Things like respect and honesty and support and clear communication, they're all the foundations here, but there's a lot more that you can do, I'm sure, to be a great leader and mentor. And you might want to start on Amazon, getting some of those excellent management books, or if that's not your thing, perhaps talk to your peers in the sector or just your peers in local small businesses. The long and short of it is, if you're a good person to work for, your employees will be more loyal. They will be more motivated to pull out all the stops for you. They will be more engaged and focused. Number 3, offer employee rewards. I know that's a big ask because we're actually struggling for financial support, survival here. But people will stay with your business if they've got a reason to do so. For the moment, that's just having a job and having 80% of wages if they're on furlough. But if you want to keep your good people and keep them motivated, it's worth starting some kind of incentive program, perhaps researching it, having a look at it for when we get to the other side. Maybe a quarterly bonus, maybe private healthcare if you can stretch to that, Maybe it's offering just to foot the bill for additional training. Or maybe it's profit sharing. But you know, and I know that if people know that they'll be rewarded for a job well done, they're A, more likely to do a good job, and B, they will stay to see things through. And number 4, give people room to grow. I touched on this earlier, but especially if your business is rapidly expanding, giving your employees room to grow within the company is a huge motivator. There's the dangling carrot and more money. Yeah. But there's also the psychological factor of feeling like they're trusted and they're respected for their work. If you're opening a second location, think about which of your employees might be a good fit for the management role there. If there's someone who's doing a particularly good job with clients, consider grooming that person to take over a group of accounts completely. When you give your best employees growth opportunities, it shifts their thinking from this is just a job to actually this could be a fully fledged career. Number 5, sharing positive feedback. It's fantastic to feel fulfilled by your work. In fact, it's one of the key job satisfaction levers. Satisfaction in your work can come from a variety of places. The really simple things like knowing that you brought those cakes in and everybody said, "Oh, thanks very much." Or it can be saving the day of a client who's been angsting about something that's really troubling them and a real problem for the business. But for you, it's a piece of cake because it's what you do day in, day out. So when your clients express appreciation for these things, make sure that you share that feedback with your employees. Several of my clients make a point of sharing all the positives and encouraging feedback with their employees during weekly or monthly meetings, and indeed with visitors on posters in the loo. So letting your employees know that they've made someone's day, or even more than that, can make them feel good, and it gives them a deeper connection to the business. Simon, number 6, please. Be transparent. Having insight into how business is going makes your employees more invested in the business. So make a point to share this data with them on a regular basis. Share it daily, weekly, or monthly. Sales reports, perhaps, or even information about how many of your customers are new versus returning. Publish your key performance indicators, your KPIs if you've got them. Have a maximum of 10. You don't want to blow people's minds. Perhaps use a traffic light indicator system so everybody can track progress. Letting your employees know that they made someone's day is really important, but they need to understand that they're an important part of the business as well, and know which areas could be improved. Offering flexible working hours is another motivator. Technology's changed completely the way that businesses operate, and it's also changed the way that we work. How often have you expected or just been aware of your employees answering emails, finishing off little projects from home on their laptops perhaps, or on their phones? So it's reasonable for them to want a similar flexibility from their employers when it comes from working hours, and they do. Almost 50% of respondents in a recent survey said that flexibility is the most important factor when it comes to job searching, and the employers are paying attention, because 80% of the employers who make it into the best companies to work for lists offer some type of flexible scheduling. So consider it. It may not work in every location, but do consider it. Offer food in the workplace. Yeah, are good snacks the key to employee retention? Not necessarily, but perhaps they are for some people. And after all, nobody works well when they're hungry, because hungry leads to hangry. We all know that, ladies, don't we? Yes, indeed. I certainly do. So give them a little bit of food, or allow them to bring their food in. Employees also have to be reasonably satisfied with their jobs, of course, and food does, however, make an undeniable difference. And it's great PR. Your employees don't live in a silo. If they speak kindly of you outside of the workplace, that's got to be good if you trade locally. Recognize your teams. Number 9, recognize your teams and individual achievements. Sometimes all people want is some recognition for a job well done. And when you've got your head down and you're fighting for survival, so easy to miss that. If an employee's been putting in a lot of time working on a project, or they just went out of their way to help a colleague, don't hesitate to praise them. Not empty praise, but real praise with specific examples. It's not just about the act of recognition, but it's the principle. If people feel that their efforts are appreciated, they will feel compelled to continue working hard. Not difficult, really. Finally, here's one that's slightly counterintuitive, because you think they're all going to want to ask, they're going to be asking for more money. But ask them what they want. Ask them what would make them more satisfied, more motivated, more engaged with the business. Instead of trying to guess what's most important to them, sit down with them and find out what they value. You probably can't deliver it all, but you could possibly meet somewhere in the middle. So addressing all of these, all the ones that practically apply to your business, that'll boost morale in its own right, and it'll help determine the level of engagement so that employees are motivated to contribute to the company's success. And this, of course, will lead to better productivity, as well as a happy, a satisfied workforce. And boy, oh boy, do we need that now. But finally, to close, I'd just say, Simon, final slide, thank you. How do you tell if your employees are engaged or not? Well, engaged employees can be roughly categorized into 3 types that you see there on that final slide. An engaged employee is very enthusiastic about the situation and their employer. They consistently give their best and make significant efforts. Now, it's not just about the arse lickers. That's about being obviously able to see that they love what they're doing. They love the employer. Non-engaged employees, however, they show poor emotional allegiance. They contribute to the company, but at a minimum level. Sometimes that's all you need, but that's not what you're going to need for survival on the other side of this. So you need to be sliding those non-engaged employees into the engaged employee category. And finally, the disengaged employees are the most dangerous of all. They're not at all invested in their work. It's just job and jack for them. Sometimes they even actively work against their company. These are the people that I'm most often called in to deal with on a disciplinary level. And it's a waste of their time, it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of your money. Avoid those disengaged employees. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So, thank you for listening. I hope that's offered some food for thought. I've had my lunch. It's just, that's a turn of phrase. I'm not hungry or hangry. I know that there are far more existential worries out there for a lot of people, but remember that right now, you don't just need to survive, but you need to thrive when this nightmare ends. And you won't do that without a motivated, loyal and committed employee workforce to help you on the other side of COVID-19. So go forth and motivate. And I can't wait to listen to what Simon's got to tell us about some more practical aspects in the business place. Simon.
Thank you, Phil. Very good.